It's hot. Only an idiot would be out in these temperatures. Mitigate the heat. So as usual, the Grunt is not crooked. The camera's crooked. Well, everything's crooked out here. Infantry sustainment, small unit sustainment. Salt stains. I just washed this hat and it's already that messed up from a day. Which is why we're talking about this. Sustainment is crucial in the field, and it's something I think a lot of people just haven't operated in the field for any kind of long period, besides maybe some glamping or something. And that's fine, nothing wrong with just going out to camp. But you know, I see people talking about like paleo and carnivore and maintaining muscle mass. Let me tell you guys something. On one hand, muscle mass and strength, it's easier retained than endurance. Okay, so in my studies, when I last looked at this stuff, you can start to lose cardiovascular endurance after 7 days of not doing it. So not getting your steps in, not rucking. A lot of you guys still like to go jogging. Fine. If you don't do that for 7 days, you start to lose your conditioning for cardio. That's a bummer. That tells me we better be doing something every single freaking week. Which, if we're doing field operations, you know, we're probably carrying a 40-pound load out. Climbing up and down these hills, we're getting our endurance in. But I can't squat, I can't deadlift, can't power clean. The research I have seen shows that around 21 days is the strength loss mark. So you can go, depending on the person, up to 21 days without doing any strength training before you start to lose gains. I have noticed, like with injuries or traveling for work and I just cannot get to a gym, if I haven't strength trained for a month, I can go back to it. I won't do 3x5 or Texas method or anything intense. I will do one set across. Squats, deadlifts, bench, or squat, press, deadlift. I'll do one set because I've had a month break and I don't want to kill myself. And I'm usually only limited to about 80% of my original weight. Anytime you take a break, you will lose strength. I see people talk about diet. You know, we all bring carbs to the field. We all fuel ourselves with carbs. I've never met a paleo dude on extended operations. I've never met a carnivore dude on extended operations. For two reasons. It's impractical. You know, you're going to bring bacon and cook it in the field. Ain't going to happen. You're not going to bring cooked bacon to the field. It'll go bad. Beef jerky's fine, but you're not going to live on beef jerky. You don't want to be squatting in the bush every 10 minutes. But also, you've got this dietary kind of fad. People talk about fat adapted and all that. Guys, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but you're not going to be fat adapted, and you're not going to keep up with the dudes that are actually strong and are actually carrying all this stuff and performing. It doesn't exist. And I think the only reason that actually stays popular is because you've got all the drugged up Instagram models telling you this stuff. And yes, if a dude is telling you his burpee workout program made him jacked and ripped, he's lying to you and he's on drugs. That's why he's jacked and ripped. Because literally anything will work for you if you're on drugs. Okay, but if we're talking about all us regular dudes who either don't want to do that or can't afford it, you're kind of stuck with working how the body works, right? So with the nutrition, carbs fuel your body. If you just can't deal with that, you don't want to hear it, then this isn't the channel for you. I'm sorry, but your muscles are fueled by glucose. They prefer glucose. Your muscles store glucose as glycogen. when you go to the field and you're climbing hills and rucking and performing heavy work out in the field, you've got to have carbs. You have to, okay? So your body turns it into glucose, a simple sugar. You know, look at a lot of the endurance athletes. They're doing dextrose tablets and gels and stuff that's like fast digesting sugar that your body will use immediately. And the people who are afraid of simple sugars, the people online, I can't get an honest answer from them, but everybody I've worked with, coached in personal training, the people who are afraid of simple sugars, it's because they're not working enough. They're not doing anything. So yeah, if you eat 500 grams of carbs a day, whether they're complex or simple, it doesn't matter. If you don't do anything to use those carbs as fuel, you're going to be fat. So it's just like any macronutrient. If you overdo it and don't use it, you will be fat. Okay? It's just like a lot of the younger kids who are eating 250 grams of protein a day and 100 grams of fat a day, but they don't do any strength training or any training. And they're like, well, I'm just following the carnivore diet. It's like, okay, 250 grams of protein a day? What are you doing with that? Holy crap, man. Well, let's dig into the approach. So carbs are fuel, all right? Now, if we're looking at our meals, that's how we're going to judge our meals. We're not retaining muscle in the field. It's not happening. So I'm usually trying to get 200 grams of protein a day because I weigh 195 and I'm trying to meet my body weight, trying to grow and all that. But in the field, I can't digest 200 grams of protein a day. It would be miserable in the field. And I would also be tired and sore and achy and just jacked up. All right. So let's get into the methodology. All right. So we got some peanut butter cheese crackers, carb heavy for fuel. We've got a power bar. It says protein, but what they call protein is like 20 grams per serving. This is 5 grams. So they call this a protein bar. It's right there. And it's 5 grams. It's not high protein. This is high carbs. Energy. That is a good snack to eat during the day to keep us going. I like these pre-mixed coffee packets, 3-in-1. So it's sugar and creamer with the coffee. I'll pour it straight in my canteen. Been doing that for 20 years. Doesn't hurt them. Sugar. Get you going in the morning. Gives you some quick energy to get going. I have 2 more protein bars on me, but they're like 10 grams of protein a piece. They're mostly carbs. They're not protein bars. Now for our meals, we do want to get some protein and we do want some fats. So our meals, we're looking at, so this is from the MRE, elbow macaroni. All right, this has probably got 15 grams of protein in it, but it's probably a lot of carbs and some fats. Fats are a good thing for you to do in camp or overnight. Thermal regulation, all that good stuff. Now these are awesome snacks in the field, and this is mostly protein. This is barbecue chicken. Outstanding. Another thing we got, a protein shake. Now let's see, 12 grams of protein. That's not a protein shake. When you do scoops of protein, you're doing 25 to 30. Okay, so 12 grams, but we're looking at 53 grams of carbs. And I know guys are stressing about this stuff. Oh, all the sugar, all the carbs. All right, how many videos have you seen of me being obese and weak? All right, that's all we can say. Okay, so then we got another chicken meal, which the barbecue sauce has sugars in it. So let's see. 3 grams of carbs in this pack. You know, that's not even good enough. I wish it had more. Then finally, we've got peas and tomatoes from the MRE. Mostly carbs. Outstanding meal. Then we got the baby wipes and spoon. So the point is, we do have protein because you do want to keep your protein intake up. But because we are activity heavy, just covering miles, just working all day, it's freaking brutal. We need energy, guys. And I know the low carb guys who hate me for saying all this, but they're still watching. They will say, oh, you got to be fat adapted and all this. Okay, this is what we call hitting the wall. This is the paleo CrossFit people, You know, when they actually have to go do something heavy with us in the field, they're passing out. They can't keep up. They can't handle it. They can barely even carry the weight that we're carrying. Oh, we also got an electrolyte package that has, I think, 50 grams of sugar. So some of these anti-carb people would call this an obesity package. But again, look at all my videos, how obese I am. Well, it's because you train and you're busy. Remember, isn't that the point? To train and stay on your feet and stay busy? I thought so. So I know this kind of comes off as me being annoyed and talking shit, and it kind of is. But for the people who are going to listen to reason and logic, and you're open to listen to stuff, especially the younger dudes, you're not preserving muscle mass in the field. We're not doing anything heavy enough to create a stress adaptation and a growth. We're not doing it in the field. We're walking a lot. We're climbing hills. It's almost all endurance, except for when we get into battle drill training and we're doing some 3 to 5 second rushes. But that's still not strength training. Okay, so give up on the maintain muscle mass in the field and all this. It's all garbage. It doesn't exist. And actually fuel yourself for work. And you know, I'm over 40 now. I get my blood checked. As a matter of fact, I get my blood checked once a year right after breakfast. I will eat a huge breakfast despite being told to fast, and I'll get my blood checked, and they're like, yep, you're fine. You're healthier than most people your age. Magic. I know that's anecdotal. The low-carb people don't want to hear that, but I'm just saying. Your body will survive on fats and proteins. Then you've got what they call gluconeogenesis, the creation of new glucose. Your body's going to turn everything into glucose. You can eat a protein and fat only diet. Guess what your body's going to do? It's going to start to break down protein. And it's not going to do that from a dietary standpoint. It's going to do that from your muscle tissue. And that's not something you want. That's when you start to reek of ammonia. The CrossFitters get this all the time. They start to break down muscle tissue, except for the ones on drugs, of course. And it's just not good, okay? Your liver uses about 150 grams of glucose a day. Your brain uses 50 to 100 grams of glucose a day. Your muscles use glucose or glycogen to operate. Give your body what it needs to work, and then you might have to go to a 3,000 or a 4,000 calorie diet in the field to be able to perform optimally. And then when you go home and you go back to the couch and you're sitting on your ass watching TV, well, then you need to cut all that back. Don't just keep eating 4,000 calories a day sitting on the couch or sitting at your office job and then complaining that carbs made you fat. Sitting on the couch doing nothing is what made you fat, not carbs. One more thing on nutrition. Gatorade is not electrolytes. Gatorade is salt and sugar water. True electrolytes, I've shown you guys these packets. In combination with a well-balanced diet, getting all your nutrients in your food, the electrolytes basically just kind of supplement that. And so when I'm out all day in this heat, around lunchtime, I'll take a nice long break in the shade, drink plenty of water. I'll dump electrolyte packet in my canteen. No, it does not hurt it. And I'll drink that along for lunch. So one full canteen with a electrolyte packet. And the last time I had any kind of heat casualty symptoms was in Ramadi in 2005, but that was because we just couldn't stop to do all that. And honestly, I didn't know what the hell I was doing back then. But if you're strong and fit and you're training, that's going to help big time with thermoregulation, regulating your body core temperature. And then if you have a decent diet and you're trying to eat as much as you can, and of course when you're strength training, you're focusing on protein with everything else, that's going to help you in the field. And then you have a good diet in the field and you get those electrolyte packets in. I usually do 1 packet a day. If it's been a long trek or a really hard day, I will have an electrolyte packet around lunchtime, and then I'll have another one for dinner. And that kind of helps me in the next morning. The electrolyte packets, they're usually cut down to like a 20% of your daily value. And that's just to help prevent you from overdoing it. So do not do like 5 or a whole bunch of these electrolyte packets in a day. Because what's going to happen is you're going to overdo it and you're either just going to waste your money and just pee all that out and waste water, or you could upset your bowel and you just, you know, you're peeing out of your butt in the field. And that's not fun, because squatting behind a bush every 30 minutes in the field is not fun at all. You run out of baby wipes, you waste people's time, everybody makes fun of you. Also, diarrhea in the field is a definite no-go. That can dehydrate you faster than anything else you're doing, and a dehydrated grunt is a bad grunt. He is a useless grunt. So that's it, guys. I'm going to catch this sunset. You guys let me know what you thought down below. If you're still watching and you hate me and you hate carbs and everything, well, give us a link down below to the video of you just performing badass stuff, and we'll go check it out. But we're going to need that evidence. That's why I got a butt pack on, so I can lean back. Y'all take care.